Happy 30th anniversary to Batman Forever. I feel old. Batman Forever was the first Batman I saw in cinemas. It was Father's Day weekend of 1995. It was my brother-in-law, my sister. My nephews and nieces weren't born yet. It was my brother, my father and mother, and then I. And I remember the McDonald's commercials. Yeah, that was something. They went all out on the Happy Meals with the cups, the glasses. Who could forget the soundtrack promo? Only one soundtrack is forever. Batman Forever. And I remember as a kid, I didn't have a concept of actors, so I'm like, I recognize Batman, but then when it went to Bruce Wayne, I'm like, that's not Batman, where's Batman? I was so used to Michael Keaton that I didn't know that they switch actors, but Val Kilmer, he was a criminally underrated Batman / Bruce Wayne. He actually fit the persona of what Bruce Wayne should be. This is the first time we had Wayne Enterprises shown in this light, the first time we had Arkham Asylum, and while they did have a casting change from Billy D. Williams to Tommy Lee Jones, Tim Burton still served as producer. Warner Brothers kind of got spooked with parents about how dark Batman Returns was, so they tried to lighten it up. But over time, the past 30 years, Batman and Robin and Batman Forever get kind of jumbled up together. What started here led to the campiness of Batman and Robin. But that's not to say that Batman Forever did not have an edge, because it clearly did have an edge. This was an experience at 4 years old seeing this movie. This was my introduction to Batman. I loved this movie so much that when the film ended, I ran out of theaters like Batman and Robin. And I remember the VHS being released on Halloween of that year. My mom, actually it's funny, we went to like an HEB, but it's like the VHSs were where you develop film. Yeah, that's right, kids. Before phones and digital cameras, you had to develop little canisters of film, and it was by the Kodak section of the photo area, the display, and my mom got it for me. And I remember the soundtrack promo on there, Free Willy, The Adventure Home, the second Free Willy. I remember all these trailers on there and how it started out, but who could forget? I mean, the soundtrack was a hit that year with Kiss from a Rose by Seal, Hold Me, Thrill Me, Kiss Me, Kill Me by U2. You have Brandy, you have Mazzy Star, The Flaming Lips. Also in Halloween, my mom went to Sears and got me the Batman Sonar costume, so that's what I wore for Halloween. And it was quite something seeing this. Jim Carrey, fresh off Ace Ventura and The Mask, was larger than life as Edward Nygma, the Riddler. Chris O'Donnell as Robin. This is the first time we had Robin in live action since Burt Ward. Val Kilmer is great. And it's funny because when it came out, I had no idea they put nipples on the suit. It wasn't until I rewatched it in high school, I'm like, there's nipples on the bat suit. I just never noticed that. And I guess Schumacher's thing was he wanted to make it like Greek Roman soldier armor, but there shouldn't be nipples on the bat suit. But I did like how they had some creative threads continue from the previous two, because, you can use Batman 89 as a real sequel, Batman 89 Echoes, The Flash, whatever you want to call it, different Earths. But for better or worse at the time, this was the third Batman film, and you had Michael Gough and Pat Hingle return as Alfred and Commissioner Gordon. Seeing Nicole Kidman as Dr. Chase Meridian, the most beautiful Nicole Kidman's been on film. The chemistry between her and Val Kilmer was great in this film. The whole arc of duality with like Two-Face and Riddler representing a challenge for both Batman's persona and Bruce Wayne's. The Flying Grayson's origin, how they kind of combined some of Jason Todd and Tim Drake's stuff with Dick Grayson's Two-Face killing the Flying Graysons. And, he is older in this. He's not a young Robin. It's cool hearing about Metropolis, with the circus being halfway to Metropolis, and then intruder alert. I love that scene with Smash It Up by the Offspring. No, sir, he took the other car. But it was nice seeing how Robin joins the fold. It feels organic. It doesn't feel forced in. And then seeing how the film transitions from a Two-Face film to a Riddler / Two-Face film with Batman and Robin, the ballroom scene. Your entrance was good, his was better. I love that. I love that CG scene where he falls. It's like, why can't you just die? I love that. All the way to the battleship stuff and them attacking Wayne Manor. That was some crazy stuff at the time. You never saw that in a Batman film. Someone tell the fat lady she's on in 5. If I was a superhero, where would I hide, And you had some repressed memories from Bruce Wayne and what was called the Red Book subplot. You had that action-packed Riddler Island finale you see on both Bruce Wayne and Batman, not because I have to be, but because I choose to be. I'm Batman, And that iconic shot. We were originally supposed to get the Gargoyle ending. And, there's been talks of a preview cut 1 and a Schumacher cut, so to speak, an extended cut. And we had the Red Book subplot, like the Red Book edition as a fan edit in the 2000s. I would love it, not only honoring Joel Schumacher, but now that we've lost the late, great Val Kilmer. if they release the extended cut, because he deserves his flowers. And from what I've heard, it doesn't change the movie in the way that like the Snyder cut was different or Richard Donner's cut, but it's a nice expansion, you know. It's like Lord of the Rings extended edition, and I would love to see more of that darkness, that duality, the more psychological nature of the film, and that nightmare bat like deleted scene. I would love to see that reinserted. And the ending that was like Tim Burton with Vicky Vale, that was on the video game ending on the games, like the real game begins. Yeah, that old promo. There's so much merchandising to this and just nostalgia I have. And you know, even though it is a bit campier and a departure from the first two, it also goes more into the comics, more than people would like to admit. And as flawed as it is, I still hold this in such high regard. It's still one of my favorite Batman films. And it's not just because it was the first Batman film I saw in theaters. Like, this film has like some legitimately good things. And I love the grounded, more darker nature of Batman, but this had the blend of it being lighter without being overly campy, and then being darker without being like completely screwed up to where like some villain's gonna be spitting out black gunk out of his mouth, you know? This was like 89 for me. 89 and Forever are probably my favorites of the anthology. There's much to be appreciated about ultra campy Batman and ultra dark Batman. That Christmas, my mom and dad got me the Kenner toys. I love the toys that went with this film. So this film was just my life for a while. I wore out the first VHS I had from Halloween, and the VCR ate it up, so my sister got it for my birthday the next year. And I still have it to this day right here, but I've watched it so many times, and I just wanted to briefly reflect upon it for its 30th anniversary. And I want everyone out there, please share your Batman Forever memories. When did you first see this film? Share your favorite moments of Val Kilmer's Batman. I love this. You know, I wonder what it would have been like with Val Kilmer and Batman and Robin, but at the same time, I'm glad he dodged that bullet and did The Saint. It was nice to have this movie. And I hope we get an extended cut, because as much as I love the theatrical, it would be kind of cool to see like an alternative, darker version that can go more with the first two films, you know? But regardless, this film was just larger than life, and it was of its time. People can like to complain about it, but this movie was a hit the year it came out, and it was very much needed. And that's one thing I love about Batman, is that different creators and writers, much like inkers, artists, and writers of comics, they have Batmans of their time, and each Batman has been much needed and much deserved for the time they have been in. And it's easy to feel one way or the other in retrospect, but you can't deny the impact it had and the time it came out. Anyway, that does it for my Batman Forever memories. Stay safe and healthy, everyone. Till next time. Only one film is forever. Batman Forever.